What if your brain was never actually designed to make you happy? What if its singular, relentless objective is simply keeping you alive? That explains why your mind replays embarrassing moments from 5 years ago while you're trying to sleep, why a single ignored text ruins your entire afternoon, or why part of you feels restless even when everything is going perfectly well. Thousands of years ago, human beings survived by expecting constant danger. The people who stayed alert to every rustling leaf lived to pass on their genes. The ones who assumed they were safe were killed. Look at this diagram showing how our biological threat detection works. Down one path, a predator approaches. Down the other, you see a peer succeeding on social media, or you make a mistake at work. Both paths funnel down and trigger the exact same glowing alarm system in the brain. It's the same ancient hardware, reacting to a completely different world. Because this alarm system operates completely on its own, it locks you into a constant state of fight or flight. You spend years trapped in an automatic loop, convinced that something is deeply wrong with you as a person. But chronic anxiety and overthinking are not personal failures or signs of weakness. They are simply the result of highly competent, ancient software executing perfectly in an environment it was never built to understand. Fortunately, there is a biological loophole that lets you manually update this ancient programming. It is called neuroplasticity. Here is how neuroplasticity works in real time. As a visual signal repeatedly travels a specific path, the brain's landscape changes, deepening into a hard-to-escape trench. Indulging in stress, comparison, and distraction physically excavates these specific trenches, fortifying your brain's capacity to generate anxiety. But the reverse mechanism is equally powerful. By repeatedly practicing calm, presence, and focus, you starve those old anxiety pathways of energy while carving out entirely new neural roots built for peace. Achieving emotional balance does not require adopting a completely new personality. It strictly requires training the biological hardware you already possess to reinforce a different set of pathways. The first intervention strategy starts with accepting a hard biological limit. It is impossible to permanently stop negative thoughts from triggering. The actual goal is to intercept the automatic spiral before it deepens. The moment you notice your mind racing towards simulated worst-case future scenarios, focus intently on immediate physical sensations, the feeling of your feet touching the floor, or the hum of the air conditioner. This forcibly yanks the brain's attention away from the imaginary threat and anchors it back in physical reality. Language functions as its own repetition loop. Constantly telling yourself, "I am a failure," trains your brain to treat that thought as absolute truth. Making small, accurate shifts in your self-talk, replacing "I always mess up" with "this is difficult right now," alters your brain's internal reality over time. Add in the endless algorithmic stimulation of our modern digital environments, and the threat system goes into overdrive. Waking up to a flood of notifications, videos, and arguments simulates a state of constant danger, exhausting your brain's processing capacity before the day begins. Actively protecting your attention and tethering it to the physical present deprives your brain's ancient threat detection pathways of the energy they need to fire. Survival brains prioritize problems. Sharp, negative inputs lock into a permanent vault, while soft, positive inputs bounce off and dissolve. To counter this bias, intentionally hold on to good moments. Feeling them fully forces your brain to encode positive data into deep storage. Sitting perfectly still all day traps stress hormones inside the body. Daily movement, even just a short walk or light stretching, sends a biological all-clear signal directly to your nervous system, forcefully de-escalating the anxiety loop. Integrating true, guilt-free rest and engaging in moments of play without any productive goal are not lazy indulgences. They are mandatory recovery periods that actively reset the brain's hyperactive threat meter. Here is a reality of neuroplasticity that often goes ignored. Your brain completely disregards intense, dramatic, one-time bursts of motivation. It only physically changes through tiny, boring, daily repetitions. The realistic afterstate of this process is not a sudden, dramatic personality shift. It is a quiet, subtle realization that you are recovering from daily stressors much faster than you used to. The specific brain you possess right now is not a permanent condition. It is merely the physical culmination of the habits you have practiced up to this exact moment. The ultimate goal of these habits is not to constantly chase a fleeting feeling of happiness. It is to meticulously reconstruct your biological hardwire into a space where happiness is finally allowed to exist.